I can see that light that backlight's going to cause a problem, so I'm going to slide over a little bit here, everyone, as you're preparing. Let's see if this is a little better. Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah, I should have sat the other way, I guess, so the light wouldn't be quite as bad. Alrighty. You can hear Heart in the background, one of the great songs of all time, Magic Man. Hear that? Good morning, everyone. I'm Roy Potter. This is an impromptu of the Potter Expositor. And today is, of course, the 10th of May, 2019. It's kind of a follow up on what I did yesterday. And I thought, I did something yesterday and then I mentioned it in the live stream late last night because I didn't really see anybody catching anything. And I've got to admit, there's a statement in the New Testament, right? And this isn't just a religious discussion, but it's to kind of clear up some more things. Remember, Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine. Well, I don't consider you all swine. The people that don't want to hear this don't need to listen. It's I often think about just not doing it at all because, of different reasons. But I figure, that this is the time where we need to have some more insight into what we are, where we come from, where we're going, and all of that, of course, okay? So at any rate, I'm going to cover a little other thing that I mentioned last night, that I put something out yesterday that had a missing piece. And I just wanted to see if anybody would find out what it was, have the curiosity to go. It takes some effort, obviously, but it'll prove my point on some things. Okay, let me get into what the initial part of this is about. Who's in charge? Well, yesterday I reported, of course, that John Kerry that the DOJ does not want to prosecute John Kerry for his violation of the Logan Act. Well, as I explained, that's a minor thing compared to everything else he's done and what everybody's done. So I can see why the DOJ would say, well, we don't want to waste resources. But the thing that troubled me about it was Trump saying, my people tell me that we shouldn't prosecute Kerry because it'll be viewed as going after my political enemies. I wish Trump would stop being timid and acting like that. He says this is what he should say. We're not going to prosecute Kerry for that, or we are, and leave it at that. But he's always got to place the blame on somebody else. Who works for who? Who works for whom? And I'm sorry to be this complaining this morning, but I'm really tired of the tweets, and I'm tired of him placing blame on his administration. All he's got to do is say, this is what I want. This is what, and if he doesn't want to talk about the difficulties he has in his administration, all he had to say yesterday was, we're not going to prosecute Kerry for the Logan Act, but we are going to be going after people for the coup, whatever. Or he didn't even need to say that, but to blame it on somebody else, I'm tired of hearing that. He needs to fire Bolton today. He needs to fire Bolton today, and I would start looking for a new Secretary of State, too, if I were him. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that out because, it makes him sound helpless and powerless. Remember, I used to say when I got really upset with him, and this is even after I got the letter from him. I said, you whine too much. You tweet and you whine. And here he goes again yesterday, and that's what he's doing. He's either in charge or he isn't. And if he isn't in charge, then he needs to do something to get in charge. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I needed to bring that up, and I also wanted to bring up, I got a message, and the person, I don't know if they're going to look at this today or not. They, as I said, I don't click on links from people I don't know, and but I did go check it out. So whoever sent me the information, I forget her name, she'll know who she is. She sent me a link to usaacpatriots.com and wanted me to look at it. So I just want to let you know that I did that. I looked at it. I'm not going to act on it for reasons I can't explain here. As far as contacting them and all that, that's not my cup of tea. But thank you for the lead. I appreciate it. Okay. Bolton and Pompeo fulfill a role to make neocons fooled. Well, Moondust, the problem with that is who are they fooling? The MIC and the IC are continuing on. Look, stuff in Syria is still going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. They want to go to war with Iran, and they wanted to interfere with Venezuela. And I'm certain there are other things that Bolton has on his little list of doobies. No, it's not. They're not fooling anybody. And I said this a year ago when I was talking about, people who said that what Trump's doing is fooling the deep state. He's fooling them. With all the surveillance abilities and all the ways that they can keep track of him, he's fooling nobody, okay? No, that's not true. He's not fooling anybody. Okay, good morning all, as I said again. Now let me go back to this, and then I'm going to sign off because I really do want breakfast. But I wanted to do this morning, cover those two little things, and again, I'm going to address, and for those of you who don't want a spiritual discussion of any kind, it's time to sign off, okay? And I won't hold it against you if you do. So if you don't want to talk about what I'm going to talk about now with what I talked about yesterday, I'm going to expand on it a little bit on the meaning of or, which means light. That's where we're going to go today. If you don't want to hear about that, now's the time to go, okay? So just to give you a second or two to make that up. And I'm just going to say, for those of you who continue to say that my study of Kabbalah is wicked, that it's evil, that it's black magic and all that, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? The prophetic method that was used by the prophets and the way that they wrote sacred writ, I'm talking about the Hebrew prophets, is not witchcraft, okay? It's not evil. And those are the people that tell you that are telling you that because either they don't know about it and they just want to, tell you not to look at it because they don't know, or they don't want you to become knowledgeable at other levels, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. I've explained, I've done several series now on what the ancient Hebrew methods were, what the Hebrew does, what Hekkelot was, which was the chambers, which was the use of the divine names to ascend in your meditations. And there's nothing wrong with meditation. It's a form of prayer. Right in the scriptures, of course, people that are praying have had contact with divine beings, even in the scriptures. And then, of course, there's the movement to Kabbalah, which is basically using the letters and the words and different types of meditations and contemplations to do things. Okay, Roy, we see Hollywood using it. Yeah, well, that's the problem. See, okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Fallen Star, and that's just the point. See how they pervert it? I'm not saying that there isn't a perverted form of it and that can be used for perversion, but I use it to understand what the scriptures are really saying. Okay, that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to show you that here again today. Yes, Hollywood, the NFL, the whole thing that happens at halftime, all those kinds of things, I understand. But remember, Satan even, I'll just say Satan, it was actually, we'll just say Satan. Satan, remember, the adversary in the Garden of Eden, he tried to attack sex. He tried to pervert it. Okay, so anything that God has created that's Satan will pervert. That doesn't mean that it's bad out the door. So just keep that in mind, okay? So let me show you something. I told you about or yesterday. I'm going to switch this around, okay, so you can see it. Well, maybe I can just do this. Let's see if this will work. Here we go, okay? Forgive my handwriting, but I think it's best to do this. And this won't take long. I just want to kind of show you a couple things. Okay, here are my notes from yesterday. And you'll notice something different today than yesterday if you looked at it. I'm going to move down from Koshek there. There's a reason why I'm doing this. No, Kabbalah is not black magic and witchcraft. You can use it. You can use anything for you can use anything for bad stuff. It is not black magic. If you say that, you need to study more. Okay. I want you to see this so that you understand what we're talking about. The big question was or, light. The Hebrew word for light is or. It's also pronounced ur, and it's also pronounced in some cases ir. And that's where Irish comes from, Irish, which means man of light. Okay? And that's this form over here, but I don't want to talk about that today. I want to show you what I did yesterday because this goes back to some other things I'm telling you about how the prophets write their words and different meanings that are associated with them. So this word here When I wrote it yesterday, if you'll remember, it looked like that. Do you remember? And I said I left something out of this? And then last night I said I was hoping somebody would catch it, but apparently nobody does. This is important, tinfoil hat. I'll tell you what, if you want to understand your origins, you want to understand this stuff. This is what Western society was built on, whether you understand that or not. And if you don't understand that, you need to. So here we are. This is what I wrote yesterday. And then last night I said something's missing, or something could be missing. So does anybody know what it is? Well, I put it in for you today. Here's what I originally wrote. This without the middle vav or wall. Both of these forms are correct. If you look in the Gesenius, which is the Hebrew English lexicon, you will see both of these forms. This is the primal form, and this has a specific message in it, and it's the reason why, I was told people yesterday, yeah, gematria, it changes the gematria very well. This one, the original or that I wrote down, it has a value of 201. That reduces to 3. And that's meaningful to help you understand a little bit more about what light does. This gematria here is 207 when you add it up, because this is 200, this is 6, and this is 1. So it's 207, which reduces to 9, which has a meaning about this. And this is why the Satanists, the Luciferians, started to try to associate Jesus with the Lucifer, okay? Because they wanted to twist this. This one here is the original primal God, head God, just like I said yesterday. But guess what? Who did he create? Who did he have? Who was his begotten through which all other things were made? Jesus. This Vav represents Jesus. It's also a connector. There's an unseen Vav here. I mean, anytime two things are connected, a Vav is a nail or a connector, okay? So in reality, it's there with what, and you don't see it, but when you add it in, like it is here, that is talking about the only begotten of the Father, who is the light, comes from the Father through the Son. Do you see that now? Now, I'm going to write something else down here. And this is very critical, and my son has talked about this, and I'm going to just do it right here, right now, okay? So pardon my Hebrew writing, it's not the best, but it'll show you what I'm talking about here. All right? That's not right. Okay. Okay, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to see something. This is the first word in Hebrew, in the very first word, a couple of words, 3 words actually, of Genesis. And it's translated. It has several translations, and I've covered this before in the past if you want to go back and look at it, but I want to show you where this Vav is, what happens here. Okay, this is the word Brashith. And this is before the Yahweh is mentioned, the YHVH. This is in the beginning. Well, at the very end here is what I want to show you. This is a Tav. It means a cross. This Yod means son or hand. Son's hand on the cross. Do you see that? Well, guess what this little Yod is? It is the junior of the Vav. When the Yod grows up, and I'm going to write this down, and God forgive me for doing this, but I want you to see it. This is one of the sacred names of God. Okay? This, most of you will know as Jehovah, or Yahweh, or Yehovah, or, there are different people pronounce it different ways. There is only one way, but this word is loaded with information if you know how to divide it correctly. But if you'll see, this is Yah, and this basically, remember I said the Yod becomes mature into a Vav? This is basically the same thing. It goes from young to a mature. In other words, Father and the Son grown up. The Son after he's attached to a cross. There are many, many secrets in these things, and this is just one aspect. There's so much more to all of this, especially this word right here. There's a lot more going on here than I'm going to talk about today. I've talked a little bit about it before, but I'm not going to go there today. All right, so what does this tell you? Remember, I showed you that Cyrus had different names, Cyrus, the king of Persia. Back about a year ago, I did that, and I showed you that there were two different spellings for Cyrus or Koresh. And I explained the reason why. It was a prophetic announcement. It was to call attention to it. The same thing here. You change the spelling, and the prophets did it all the time. And there are other messages you can get from not just the gematria, but the spaces between the letters. And I'm not going to get into all that today. I'm telling you, this is black magic. If it was, I'd be casting spells with this stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm breaking down the words. These are stories written. Unlike in English, they're not just phonetic sounds. They're stories. They're numbers, and there are other words. This method here, this particular style of or right here, has this gematria of 207. One of the secrets is that all the other words with the gematria of 207 are related to that. This is important to understand what's happening. On a very basic level, this or is 201. It reduces to 3. 3 is a gimel. It means travel. It means journey. Okay. On this one, when you add the sun in, the vav, it becomes 9, 207, which reduces to 9, which is the instructor. He shows you the way. These things are incredible. Okay. And you need to just consider them. I'm not going to waste any more time on it today. I just wanted to show that to you so that you'd know that I didn't leave. I was hoping somebody would say, well, Roy, you left out the vav in the or yesterday. This was totally correct. You can do it this way. But these different methods of using the letters in different formats are important to understanding the deeper secrets. And there are deeper secrets, whether you realize it or not. That's all I'm going to do today. For those of you who want to insist that it's black magic, it's okay. Like Jesus said, it's given to some to know the mysteries of God. It's not given to everybody. And a lot of it has to do with a hungering and thirsting for righteousness, for truth. If you want to listen to your pastors and your preachers who don't know anything, and want to keep you from, keep paying them, your tithing or whatever, that's fine with me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. The truth will set you free. Ever heard that? And people want to say, oh, Roy, you're so full of yourself and all this, which I have got quite a bit of in the last few days. Secrets, okay, look, there's a difference between secrets and sacred, but the fact of the matter is not all things are told to everybody, and that, by definition, is a secret, okay? Have you ever heard the phrase, you strain at a gnat and swallow a camel? Have you ever heard that phrase? Jesus himself said it to the Pharisees. And you people that want to pick apart these little things and not see the truth, you're straining at a gnat and you're swallowing a camel. Don't do that. And don't make light of things you don't understand. You weren't sent to this world to go through it with blinders on. You're supposed to see. You're supposed to look. You're supposed to explore. You're supposed to take chances. You're supposed to study. You're supposed to take risk. Now, I know I can't reach anybody, and I don't really care if I do or not. So the other thing I want to say is this, okay? And that is the humility is merely telling the truth. A person can be humble and sound quite boisterous, but because they're telling the truth, they're actually being humble. Okay? I got to go. Gonna eat breakfast. Don't want to take up all your time. It's already been 20 minutes. Man, it's a lot longer than I anticipated. Okay? All right, we're out here. Open your eyes. Open your ears. Those who have eyes to see and those who have ears to hear. The rest of them, too bad. Out for now. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a great weekend if I don't see you again.